Hey guys, welcome back. I've had so many good ideas of late, and I'm working to bring them to you. I've just got to work out that schedule. Tonight, I thought I'd discuss gratitude and kindness, two of what I think are critical pillars in a successful life. The 7 Habits of Successful People talk about gratitude being one of those core habits. And it is one of the core aspects of a lot of the teachings in the health, the success, and the self-improvement industry. Kindness and the concept of paying it forward also gets a lot of attention, though I don't think enough attention, and as much as it deserves. Right now, I'm currently reading a book called The Lone Survivor. It's the true account of Marcus Luttrell and the Operation Red Wing, which was a disastrous mission in Afghanistan with the Navy SEALs. It's an incredible book, and go read it. But without trying to give any of the story away, I will talk about one aspect which I think ties into this evening. At one moment, Marcus and four of the four SEALs are stuck on a mountain, and they are presented with a choice. It's a moral choice, and in one direction, it's easy. It's the simple. It in some ways is the correct thing that should be done, and the other is going to cause problems, but it seems to be morally more centered with their mindset, and so they end up letting go a couple of unarmed Afghans, and that brings about a whole series of major issues. However, later in the book, Marcus also talks about how he was saved. There's a helicopter. How he was saved by a bunch of villagers, and they put themselves in harm's way to rescue him. And I think the two events and the two moments in the book are tied. I think I think if you don't make that moral choice in the front, that the second one, granted, it would never have occurred. I don't think it would present the same way. I don't think that the villagers would be as kind to him on the flip side. I think those are linked, and it's subtle. It's subtle, and I generally like to live like that. Thinking that my actions today will impact the events of tomorrow, not directly, not intentionally, and not through any linear line, but choices I make and things I do will impact my life in other ways later on. When my oldest was much younger and he was just learning to walk, whenever he started stepping out of line, he always got smacked back by what we termed was the universe. And there's one particular story that I always found really enjoyable. He wanted to go outside and play, and it was pouring rain. It was thunder and lightning out, and he wanted to go out anyway. And he opened up the door, and we told him to, come back inside. And he looked at us in utter defiance, and turned and ran down the sidewalk towards the road. and just as he got out of the range of the building, a lightning bolt struck in the area. Probably not as close as what it felt, but at the same time, the thunder struck. So it was close enough that the lightning and thunder were right on top of each other, and it was loud. It shook the place, and it stopped him right in his tracks, and he turned around and ran right back inside, and it really felt like it was just a smack saying, listen to your mom and dad. And I always sort of thought that was kind of humorous. Today, I find that I go through similar instances in my life. If I do things and say things or take actions that are done even with the smallest intent of malice or revenge, things out of anger, they come back and they either bite me later on, or I get hit with something else later on, and it's just a pattern that I'm seeing, and more so I've seen in the last couple years as I've been going through the divorce. I've tried very hard throughout the divorce to stay very positive and upbeat as I can, but there are moments. There have been many moments and many events where my anger has definitely got the best of me. And over the first few weeks, months, it was far more so. And the consequences have always come around. Two particular instances that I feel I can directly relate. This past Christmas, we have, it's a standing agreement as to when we can take vacations and when we can't, and such. And I chose to take 2 weeks of vacation over the Christmas holidays. This wasn't to interfere with the Christmas Day, Christmas Eve time sharing that we already had in place. It fit the books, and it was done, I don't think, with the best intents in mind. And after I had booked it, I sort of realized, oh, that's going to cause problems. And instead of dealing with it and doing or trying to deal with it nicely, I let it sit, and it came back to bite me. She fought back legally, trying to claim that I didn't have the right, which I felt I did. But nonetheless, that simple action of me and booking the time where I knew going into it, it was going to cause her strife. I knew that before I ever booked the vacation. I did anyway. And the result was a legal battle. I don't think it was a very heavy one, but it was one that cost me. It cost me money. It cost me time. It cost me a whole lot of stress. It cost some of my friends stress. And that was just unnecessary. And I could have stopped it just by paying attention to how it was going to impact the other party beforehand. The second one stretches farther back. This stretches back to right around the time of our mediation. And the reason why a lot of this comes up is this particular event is coming back to sort of lay its eggs now. at the time, I was no longer living in the house, and one of the utility bills got way out of whack, um, and this was right as we did our mediation. I was angry. I was upset, um, to say the least. The And she came to me and said, "There's this utility bill, and it's got a problem on it." Um, and I said, "I don't have any of the information. I don't have the bills. I'm not living in the house, so I can't account for anything. This is, you know, yours to deal with, not mine." Um, she was saying that the utility company wouldn't talk to her because she wasn't on the account, which at the time I didn't believe. And to this day, I don't believe that she had any problems talking to them, because we hadn't in 7 years. But nonetheless, I didn't want to help at the time. I was angry. I can't recall if I actually called up the utility company to make sure that she had the rights to do it or to deal with it. She definitely switched over the account following the mediation as per the agreement. But nonetheless, I did not help to the best of my ability in that situation. And now, I guess the bill had never gotten paid, and there's now issues that we have to deal with today, that have only come to light this week. So sometimes you need to look beyond. I need to look beyond my instant anger, and try and do what's best for the situation and best for the people involved, even if it isn't emotionally just in your head. And I think both those situations, I think technically, I feel I'm in the right. But I think holding to that does not mark the level of kindness that I feel is deserved. So for both those situations, I apologize to her, for not being able to stand a little taller, and act a little bit better. And I try and remember that, in all my dealings, though, as with anyone, emotions do get the best of you. When you run into those situations, try and make the best of it. Try and offer a solution. At least I'm telling myself that. And I think in general it can be wrapped up in the immortal words of Yoda. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering. And I think that is very true, in all these situations. So be grateful for what you have. Pay kindness in your actions. And I think that sets you on a good path, for tomorrow. Anyway, I didn't want this to be all that serious. Anyway, have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You came, you're here.